Okay, so letter number 8. It's been a week now, but getting up to Christmas, etc. Haven't had a lot of time. So what we're going to do, as I mentioned before, if you've seen in video 1 to 7, if you think about it, in reality, the reader of the letter would not have access to the case notes. That therefore means that during the writing, when you are writing your letter, you have to make it clear and logical so the reader, without access to secondary sources of information such as the case notes, so to the reader it makes perfect sense. Okay, this is just part of the method or strategy, if you like, which I believe works quite well. So I am going to read this like the reader, line by line. We'll see if it does make sense to me. Let's see. Okay, I'm writing to update you on the condition of Mrs. Meadows who is ready to be discharged today after being suspected. So we've got some issues here. After being, so why wouldn't you use an article after a suspected pulmonary embolism, or after being suspected of, but that wouldn't really work either. So simply get rid of that verb form and use an article because it's a noun phrase. Now, you don't need to say as you know. If I know it, why are you telling me that I know it? Don't need it. Get rid of it. What the examiners have said, and OET, they want you to be as concise as possible. If you can take something out and it doesn't change the meaning of the letter, you should do so. Now, Mrs. Meadows attended. Now, did she attend or was she admitted? Did she come in? So this reads to me like she came in on her own. She attended, or you could say presented. She presented to the emergency department, but here attended will do. With a 1-month history of shortness of breath exacerbated by an episode of vomiting. In addition, you don't really need this in addition. You can put all the symptoms in a single sentence. With a 1-month history. Now, the shortness of breath, did that last for a month? And exacerbated by an episode of vomiting. So when did that episode of vomiting occur? Was it a single episode? So you've got a 1-month history of shortness of breath. Okay. Exacerbated by an episode of vomiting. But when did that episode, and why would a single episode exacerbate your shortness of breath? Okay. In addition, she had generalized. You mean she had a general lassitude? Faint. How can you have a faint? What? So she fainted? She was feeling faint? This is not clear to the reader at all. You can faint as a verb, but can you actually have a faint? So she was feeling faint, or so that's not very, very clear. Trembling and fluttering. Trembling and fluttering what? What do these two verbs refer to? What was a fluttering? I'm not really sure. So that's not very clear to the reader. On examination, the shortness of breath was not triggered by the exertion. So in grammar terms, if you've got a definite article, it means a particular exertion, but you haven't mentioned exertion before. So presumably you mean by exertion in general. Therefore, you're not writing an essay, so you don't really need that. Examination, the shortness of breath was not triggered by exertion. She was admitted to our emergency department for an overnight observation. So she came to the emergency department and she was admitted to stay. Okay. During hospitalisation, the blood pressure and chest X-ray were normal. Test result. Okay. As per the discharge plan. So, what did you do? I mean, usually, when somebody goes to a doctor or a hospital, the patient says, I've got this doctor, blah, blah, blah. So what the patient said, what you found, what you did. But I don't see anything here. Any treatment? Did you do anything? Okay. As per the discharge plan. So again, just in terms of logic, I'm reading this. Okay, so Mrs. Meadows, she's had a suspected pulmonary embolism. She came to the emergency with some complaints. You examined her, gave her some tests. Did you do anything? Doesn't seem so. As per the discharge plan, requires a referral to an endocrinologist to review your condition. Because I suspect, or as she has a suspect. Well, you can use because I, or you can make it passive. Suspected. So to review her condition as I suspect, or as she is suspected of having an endocrine disorder, as a second what? A secondary to Crohn's disease, or she might have an autoimmune disease. So you don't really know what she might have. But I thought you said here that she had a pulmonary embolism. Okay. So the condition, as she is, make it passive, suspected of having an endocrine disorder, secondary to Crohn's disease, or a possible autoimmune disease. Okay. Now, overall what? You're not writing an essay. Overall what? So what you usually do here at the end, in the closing, this is where, in view of the above or something, I would appreciate it if you could take over her care. So usually you put the reason for writing again at the bottom, so we don't need this overall. If you want to put some kind of phrase, you can say in view of the above, if you want to do it like that. Or simply, I would appreciate it if you could take over her care. You usually say a little bit more what it is you want the reader to actually do. So, okay, doesn't really tell me what you want me to do. You're updating me, okay, but what do you want me to do? You want to... So, I would put that... I would appreciate it if you could take over her care, review her condition. I don't know if you want me to give a definitive diagnosis or what, but it doesn't really say a great deal there as to the purpose of the letter. So, not too bad. If we have a look at the criteria, the purpose, it's not very clear. I'm not really sure what you want me to do. It's not immediate. I suppose you could give it a 2 for that. Content, length of documents, is it clear? Some of it, I don't know. The language, there's some minor things here. Organisation, some lapses of organisation. I think you might be struggling to get a B here. I think more C+ is more likely that you might be getting for this particular letter. So again, as I say, if I'm going through this line by line, it's not very clear. There's some aspects here that's to the reader, I'm not very clear at all what is going on. It looks a little bit short, and I say some aspects of it not very clear. So I think this might be coming in more like, C plus rather than a B. Okay, hope that helps. I'm sorry if I sound a little bit rough. It's Christmas Eve. I have a bit of a cold, as you can probably tell, but I will soldier on over Christmas and maybe do another video or two if I get time. So, hope that helps.